especially the one that you want to impact, influence, or pass a message, you should have to plan it. And this becomes important, especially to the practitioners of public relations and information. And most especially, again, those of us in the military, because of the peculiarities of the service or services. Now, we are talking of strategic narratives, like I think we are all aware that maybe the nation do not have information or public relations doctrine in or out of period of emergency. You cannot, like someone said, leave information management in period of crisis for a country to the army alone or national orientation agency. If you look at the United States of America, for example, information doctrine is conducted by the Office of DoD, Department of Defense, under the Secretary of Defense, equivalent to Minister for Defense in Nigeria. Was inputs, synergy, collaboration, or partnership with Ministry of Information, National Orientation, and other injects, maybe from the services. So there is need for national doctrine or policy, national media or information doctrine or policy in period of emergency for this country. And I know very well, most of the security organizations in Nigeria, one cannot precisely say or says whether or not they have a media doctrine. Nigerian Army, especially under the leadership of Lieutenant General Tukuru Supuratai, have done a lot in this regard. You remember ICT policy of the Nigerian Army, even Ministry of Defense. We have information policy in the Nigerian Army. Whether or not the nation has one, like we have had it from DG, POMA, National Orientation Agency, is something that is ongoing. And I believe issues of this nature are continuous. One day we'll get it. Now, when we talk of information management, maybe in particular reference to Lapia Dole, you see, we must have information or narrative policy, not only as an organization, it could be even mission specific. For example, we may decide to say, okay, this is the national information policy or doctrine of Operation Lapia Dole. So mission specific. And then that brings another issue. Do we have subject matter experts on strategic communication sufficient enough to address what we are talking about, either in the Navy, Air Force, or Army? This is one issue that we have to look at it, especially during avenues like this study period. Then, when you look at it today, Nigerian Army, under the leadership of Lieutenant General Tukuru Supuratai, appears to be doing so many things because of peculiar situation that we find ourselves. Nigerian Army, they are engaged in war fighting against terrorism, insurgency, banditry. At the same time, if you look at it in the Northeast, Nigerian Army are health workers. Some of them, some of our personnel are teaching at IDP camps. We are providing guard duties there. We are giving corporate social responsibility intervention. Sometimes food items, blanket materials. At the same time, you see us in engineering works, construction of roads, demining, clearing of roads. At the same time, Nigerian Army is focused on strategic communication, defending itself, passing information relevant to the issues at stake, defending itself from vested interests who are always criticizing whatever the army has done, whether good or not. They are concerned in castigating the activities of the Nigerian army for selfish reasons. There is no doubt that all of us here will bear witness, and the nation, responsible members of Nigeria, are aware of what the situation in Nigeria was before the arrival of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, and the subsequent appointment of Lieutenant General Tukur. In Kaduna, where some of us have been, in Kano, in Abuja, you cannot even go to worship center without you thinking something is likely going to happen to you. You are moving, you will hear, or you must have heard of bombs here and there. See what happened in Kano, Central Mosque. Over 200 people died at one instance. I was in Maiduguri at the prime, at the peak of the crisis. You can't even move on the street, vacant. Now people are going about their normal, lawful activities unhindered. You can go to the market and even sleep. And then people from nowhere will now accuse the military that they are military and security agencies, that they are not winning the war. As far as I'm concerned, when Mr. President and other stakeholders in the Nigerian project stated, because it wasn't even the army that mentioned this word, that Boko Haram have been technically defeated. People thought, up to now there are people, because of minor setbacks the security agencies are facing, sometimes maybe attack, sometimes we lost men or equipment, then they will say the army is losing or the security agencies are losing the war. That is not true. Those who knows and who are supposed to know by virtue of where they are, knew very well that Boko Haram have been not even technically effectively defeated. Minor setbacks here and there notwithstanding. Even not because of the efforts of the security agencies. I always say it, situation would have been in the rain, no cover, was rifle. Sometimes no shade. Food will be transported, everything transported. Sometimes you have to wait. You are with somebody, the next moment during attack, when you advance, you lose a person. Then somebody will sit down from his cozy room or write, or mention it in an interview. The army is not doing, or the security services are not up to the task. I wonder, which kind of judgment is this? I sometimes wonder, how can